Before watching this lesson example, you may want to have the following resources available.
Talking about some Latin roots that are very commonly seen in our language, in our English language. So you'll see them in your reading and you'll use them in your writing. The word root, sense, comes from Latin. And you can see that in two of these words that we use in our language, consensus and sensitive. That root sense is right in the word. So I want you to read this word with me. This is consensus. Say it with me. Consensus. And this is sensitive. Read this word with me. Sensitive. Who knows what these words mean? What does consensus or sensitive mean?
You're fragile, but if you get your feelings hurt, you're very sensitive, and if you start crying, you're sensitive.
So someone who's sensitive is immediately aware of feelings. Who thinks they could use that word sensitive in a sentence for me? Melissa.
My best friend Maggie is sensitive when she doesn't get her way.
Excellent. Thank you.
Don't talk to me, I'm sensitive.
Okay. What about consensus? Does anyone know what this word means? Consensus. Has that same sense.
Like strong feeling?
It's a strong feeling of a group, okay? Consensus, if you have consensus, that means that everybody in the group agrees. So we've had consensus on some hot topics in this class, and we've had some times when we did not have consensus. Consensus is when everyone feels the same way. So what do you think this Latin root sense might mean? If we know that sensitive is someone who's immediately aware of their feelings, and we know that consensus is that feeling of agreement among a group, what would sense mean? What do you think that root means? Madison?
Sense means feeling.
Yeah, sense means to feel or perceive. What are some words we could add to our chart that have that sense root built into them? Zaim.
Sensible.
Sensible. That has the root sense right in it. Zaim, what does sensible mean? Somebody's making a sensible choice.
It might mean reasonable.
Yes, a sensible choice is a reasonable choice. You feel as though that choice is a great choice to make. What's another word that has the sense root in it? Isaiah.
Sensory.
Excellent, Isaiah. That word does have the root sense in it. What does that word mean, sensory?
To feel.
To feel. Can you give me an example? Something that might be something that you're feeling has a sensory.
I felt slime.
And slime has that. So someone who's using their sensory feelings is touching things like slime or sand or water. They're feeling things. What's another word, Giuliani?
Sensation.
Sensation. Giuliani, what does that word mean? Sensation.
To feel, so say if you're in a roller coaster, when you're coming down, you can feel the way it is probably gonna drop, sensation.
That sensation in your body, do you like that feeling?
Yes.
What? I don't like that feeling. So a word root like sense really gives us a lot of information as to what other words that we might see in our reading, what those words could mean. So what is a word root? We keep saying word root over and over. What is a word root? Avery?
Like the meaning in the word.
So it helps us to understand the meaning of the word. Where does it come from? It comes from?
The Latin root.
Yeah, it's a Latin root. It comes from another language. Some of our words come from other languages like Latin and Greek. So if we know what the word root means, how will that help us?
It can help us understand like the meaning of the word.
Where are these roots found? Madison?
In different languages like Latin or Greek.
So they come from different languages like Latin or Greek, but where do we see them?
And like words.
In our English language, our language is built from a lot of these Latin roots. So today, you're going to work with a partner, and you're going to create a map, just like the one that we did, with a different Latin root. And you're going to try to come up with as many words as you can that have that root. And together, you're going to try to figure out what that root means.
Description.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Description.
Prescription.
Prescription.
Yep. Make sure you're underlining the root right in the word, okay? Because that's going to help you to understand.
No, like in the like script.
This is P-R-E, just so you know, prescription.
P-R-E.
Yep. So what makes prescription? What do you think that means? Script. So what would this mean?
So like a
glasses.
doctor's
Writing
yeah.
a prescription for like glasses or something.
Great.
and the description is
Like giving a example. No, like what the word means.
this is that a Latin root? This because
No, because this is actually D-E-S.
oh
So it's description.
this.
It's okay. But the script part, when you're just, if somebody's saying to you, write a description of what you're visualizing, right? That's where the writing comes in, in the description. Nice job. Don't forget to underline the Latin root.
So you would underline script.
What does that mean? How is that related to this Latin root? Take or hold.
I thought of it like the captain
Because you can like
holding
take.
the vessel.
Because you can like
Yes.
probably like take the flag.
Yes, the captain, or even the captain of the ship, takes control. Don't forget to underline these Latin roots. What about captive?
Captive, waiting.
But
Holding
just the root
school.
is C-A-P. So you don't need to underline the whole word, just the root word. That's like the base of the word. So now I'm going to have you share out your word map that you and your partner worked on today. Do I have a group who'd like to volunteer to share their Latin root, what it means, and some words that have that Latin root within it? Let's start with Madeline's group.
We got scribe/script, so that means write. And the 5 words we got was scribble, scribe, script, right? Yeah. Transcriber, transcribing, and subscribe.
Thank you for sharing those. Did anyone else do that root and have any additional words that they'd like to share out? Avery's group.
My group, we got scribble, description, prescription, subscribe, transcription, and scripture.
So how does knowing the Latin root scribe help you to understand all of those words? What do all of those words have in common?
The Latin root, which is scrib and script.
And what does that mean?
It means to write.
I need another group to share out a different Latin root. Tegan, let's have your group.
Our
Latin root.
Latin root was rupt, and it meant to break. Our words that we found were disrupt, interrupt, and erupt.
Can you talk to me about one of those words on your on your word map and how that relates to the Latin root?
I mean, disruption. Yeah. So, like, you would break the conversation.
That's spot on. All right, you too. So tell us your Latin root, what it means, and the words that you found.
Okay, the Latin root is clud and clus.
And what does clud and clus mean?
To shut and close.
Great. So what are some of the words that you found that have that Latin root in them?
We found clusters, including, clutter, excluded, and that's.
So I want you to talk to me about one of those words and how do you see the Latin root, the meaning of that root built into that word?
One word was clutter.
Clutter.
It means a lot of things in not a lot of space. So it's all like cluttered together.
So it's all kind of closed in together, right? That root means closed. I want to talk to you about the big picture now. What did you discover about our English words today? Madeline?
Some of our words that we're using in like American, like in English, are Latin roots.
How can that help you as a reader or as a writer, knowing that a lot of our English words have Latin roots built within them? How might knowing these word roots help you? Jordan?
To understand the word.
Definitely. So if you come across a word and you're not quite sure what that word means, if you know the root, that will help you to kind of work it out and to figure out what that word means. Giuliani, did you want to add on?
To know how to spell it.
Sure. We want to be able to spell these words correctly as well. We want to be able to read them accurately and spell them correctly. Yes. So boys and girls, in your reading and writing, when you're reading and you come across a word that has a Latin root, if you know what that root is, that's going to help you to determine the meaning of the word, especially if you're confused on it. And then when you're writing, you want to be using these words in your writing. That's going to really boost your writing. And just like someone had mentioned, spelling them correctly too. That will matter, and that will be helpful to your readers so they're able to understand the message that you're trying to get across in your own writing.